Hi, welcome to another episode of the AI Workflow Lab. In today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about Copilot and how it can be used for those of you who are accountants. Now, you may already have Copilot deployed to your account. You may already have it in your environment. So I just want to show you 4 easy things you can use here and now with your M365 Copilot license as part of your role as an accountant. The first one is client email management. Now, we all know what that means. No doubt you may have several clients that you have to keep on top of your correspondence in terms of what's been said, what hasn't been said. So a very quick win using Copilot in Outlook or in chat is the one I'm going to show you here, which is firstly, I make sure I've got the work toggle selected here, not the web. And I'm just going to say summarize. Actually, you know what? Sorry, we're going to make a change in direction live here on YouTube because that's how we like to do things live. You can do it in chat, but I'm going to do it in Outlook because I suppose I want to emphasize the fact that if you're always in Outlook, then that's where you're comfortable in. So there's no reason why we shouldn't have the demo show that. So I'm just going to go into my Outlook now, and basically in Copilot in Outlook, I just simply go here. You even have some placeholders like what matters most in my inbox. So some of the placeholders are pretty good as well. But I'm going to go with summarize, not summarize, because that isn't a word as far as I know. I'm going to use GPT-5. You have the different models you can use. Yeah, let's go with GPT-5. Well, look, this is client email management. So let Copilot go through the noise and help you prioritize which clients you need to speak to today versus which ones you can speak to tomorrow or next week or not at all if the correspondence is just FYI. You know what I mean? So then I get the nice summary here. If I just maximize that view there, I can see that I've got email profile check, network social updates, client emails requiring my response, none found. So in this particular case, there aren't any. But again, this is just sample data, and it's not about my content here, but it's about you going in and using Copilot, throwing in a prompt like this, and you will get those type of filtered responses telling you what needs to be done now versus what doesn't need to be done. Or indeed, a valid case may be there's nothing that was found at the moment, so there's nothing that's pressing, and it means you're up to speed, you're up to date. But yes, I will, as I say, this is Copilot in Outlook for client email management was the first tip I wanted to show you. The next tip I want to show you is using, obviously you all have many customers that you engage with. How do you prepare for a meeting before you meet with that customer? So again, in this particular case, let's go to Copilot in chat. And again, we're going to write a prompt that says, and this is it. It's about you not worrying where the information is, but just getting Copilot to do that work, whether it was an Outlook, Teams, email. I have a client meeting tomorrow. Let's see, who's a client? It would help. I have a Contoso meeting tomorrow about their year-end accounts. Pull together the key points from my recent emails and then flag anything outstanding. So you notice in the email, I'm directing Copilot to look just at, you'll notice from the prompt, I'm asking Copilot to just look in my emails. Now you can tweak that prompt and just say, pull together any key points from my recent correspondence with them. Because you know what, sometimes you may correspond in email, but you may also correspond via Teams chats, etc. So again, be mindful of that. But you can see I have got a nice, concise, meeting-ready summary based on my recent correspondence with Contoso. Areas proposed for the inclusion. It's giving me a nice summary here. It's referencing the email where those conversations took place. So again, it's a nice, simple way to get on top of things before you have that meeting with your client. And then, look, there are other ways. You can even see suggested ways to frame tomorrow's meeting. Copilot can turn this into a one-pager, an agenda. So, I'm limited to the time I've got here, but, these are the kind of things you can use to make your life a lot easier. So this use case was about preparing for your client meeting and getting Copilot to find all that relevant information. Now, the third example I want to show you is Excel. Now, no doubt you accountants, you live and breathe in Excel. and hopefully this is something that will resonate with you. So I want to show you how you can use Copilot in Excel to effectively pull out insights, trends, alerts, etc. against your data set. So in this example here, let's just bring it over. I'm having a bit of issues with dual screens today. I don't know why. It's not as slick as it's done. It's not really. Anyway, we're here now. It's there. So in this data set, you can see I've got an executive summary, I've got trends, I've got discounts, and it's all about commercials around this particular company. And I need to kind of find out some information, such as in this case, I want to get some information around the expenses. So what I've got here, summarize the top 5 expense categories for this year and show me how they compare to last year. Hit go, or hit the green button, go, I suppose. And then off it goes, and it will think about it. And then at some point, it will give you those insights. And that's really good as well. And here you go. So it doesn't take too long. I didn't make a coffee. I could have started the coffee, not quite have it ready. But anyway, you could look at the insights you get. So I get the top 5 expense categories for this year versus last year. I've got the largest cost increase. I've got some more additional information. Yeah, so the top 5 categories are VTT, Amarilla, Velo, Montana. These are the products. Year-on-year comparison table, 2024 versus 2025, and so on. Key takeaways, a nice executive summary. So it accelerates that. You can even go that step further, create bar charts, create visuals, etc. This is Copilot in Excel using, and this is the third use case I wanted to show you. The fourth and final one I want to show you is using Copilot Notebook, one of my pet favorites, if I may say so. So what Copilot Notebook does, if you recall a few episodes back, I had a series that was purely on Notebook, and feel free to have a look at that one again. It's focusing on Notebook, and equally, this is the same concept. You can use Notebook to centralize, have a central place where you can then use Copilot to interrogate against your data. Say, for example, you have several clients. One client could be a notebook. In other words, a notebook can be named after one client. You put all the relevant information there, and you then use Copilot to interrogate it and get answers to your question. So, Contoso Limited are who I'm working with. Then I can after I've given the notebook a name, I just select the files that I want to have. And as I click on them, you can see they are referenced in the background. Monthly reports, I've got 3 there. And you can keep on adding to these. So I'm just going to add these 3. And then once they're added, now any prompts I do will be specific to this notebook. So this client, if you want to call it because, if a notebook is a client, so all my Contoso correspondence for year end, I'm going to put in notebook, and then I can now do some work on it. You'll notice when you create the notebook, Copilot creates an overview. So that's what it's doing right now. So even if it takes all those files I've put in the notebook, it already starts giving you a summary, right? Before you even asking anything, it's already consolidated the information. It's given me a nice summary. It's even already given me some insights. Profitability is positive overall, but concentrated and modest at this group level. So it gives me those. So even as you collate that information, you put it in a notebook, immediately you get a nice summary before you start interrogating the data. And the good thing about this is that it's all centralized. So if I go back to my all notebooks, you can see, so that's the Contoso notebook. That's one client. You could do the same thing with another customer, another client. So you'll have all your separate clients here, and then you can always work on them and know that any prompts that you do against that client in that notebook the answer will be targeted, will be ring-fenced against that information. So notebook for client management as an accountant is a very good place for sure. So that's all I have time for. So I hope you liked it. Please like and subscribe. Please check out my Udemy course and Skillshare if you want to have a lot of more information on general Copilot. And also check out the notebook video I have a few episodes back and any other thing else. Cool. That's all I have to say now. Have a good day. Bye for now.